family. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're here with the talented 10th Coach Jay. We just trust that you're receiving information to go back into research. Once again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not an attorney or anything like that. I'm just here to share some information with you because W.E.B. Du Bois said, guess what? The people, the talented 10th who have reached the level of success, black people, go back and train up those other folks to bring them along. We're not doing the crap thing. We don't want to keep trying to pull each other down. We want to keep reaching down to lift others up once we reach a level of success in whatever field that you're deemed to be a little bit competent in. And I trust that this information on financial freedom will just help you. It can jumpstart you to go higher, to research and apply the information and go higher. That's my objective. I'm not here to sell you any courses because I don't have any courses to sell, and I wouldn't do you like that. I know a lot of YouTubers, and there's nothing wrong with it, at the end of their little talk or giving a little information, they leave you on the hook to now sell you a course, and that's how they're able to make a lot of money. Is there anything wrong with making money? Absolutely not, but that's not my objective. I am financially free, been financially free for 15 years now. Once I retired from the military at the age of 40, everything paid for. God has blessed me tremendously, and I am blessed to be a blessing. And if people want to sow into my life, I don't have a problem with that, but I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to give you information. I'm here to plant seeds of information so you can now go back and to apply it. Go back, first of all, research it, and then if it works for you, that you can apply it. When I was given this information many years ago, about this tool, this vehicle called the IRA, the Roth wasn't available at that time. It was available, but I didn't know about it. I didn't even know anything about mutual funds or anything. And when I started participating in it, I started with $25. That's all I could do. I had a family of four, and I was in the military making just minimum money to take care of a family. We were okay, comfortable, living on post housing. 2 times we were debt free because I chose not to be a part of the consumer culture and trying to look rich instead of being rich. We were 2 times we had absolutely no debt while I was in the military, and I was the only breadwinner in the family of a family of 4. Yeah, and it's possible because when you get the mindset of I got an end goal. I didn't know all this information I know now. That's what I want to share with you. And if you're young, if you jump in here, you don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting, as I call it. But you just stay consistent. Start very young. $100 a month, $200 a month into this, and just let it ride for the next 40, 50 years. You still be financially free, multi-millions of dollars, just by doing a little bit consistently in your Roth IRA and never be taxed on it, as we always talk about. This Roth IRA, you're taxed down on your money, whatever you get, just like whatever income you make, you get taxed on it, and then after that, it's after-tax dollars that you put into your Roth, and guess what? That money is never taxed again if you hold until you're 59 and a half, and not try to dibble and dab in the money. And there's some provisions on it where you can pull the contribution out, but the interest on it, the compound growth, the earnings on it, you cannot touch that money until you're 59 and a half, and you, of course, you got to have it in there for 5 years or more when you start dealing with that. But we don't even want to concentrate on that because we want to set this money aside for when we get to that age of whatever we call retirement. We can start pulling that money out penalty-free, tax-free, forever. And then if we leave something in there, once we leave this earth realm, we're able to give it over to our beneficiaries. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to give you some information so that you can start early. The earlier the better. The best time to invest was yesterday. The second best time is right now. So let's get started in this. We want to start our Roth IRA. This is one leg of the stool that we'll be talking about. We'll eventually get over to the other ones. But right now, we want to try to exhaust as much as we can, even though you can't exhaust everything. So that's why I'm staying here, because I remember in school, I remember people who did not go to the next grade back then. I don't know how they do it now. I think they just, pass people on. I hope they're not doing that. I hope they're really making you fulfill the requirement for that grade before you get passed on. Uh, and I trust that you get this information so we can go to the next level. And we can continue to build week after week, year after year, decade after decade. That's my goal, and this is my assignment. And once again, I'm not trying to sell you a course, because it's not about that for me. And if other people are doing that and you're fine with that, that's okay. So we're talking about building wealth through this Roth IRA, tremendous tool that we have. And last time, 2 sessions ago, we talked about the couple that was getting $74,000. That was $19.27 an hour, working 40 hours a week. They both was getting the same amount of money. They were drawing $74,000 a year. And this couple didn't start until they were 40 years old, because they didn't know. They were just living life, spending money like there's no tomorrow. Like most of us as blacks, we have over $1 trillion a year of purchasing power. But yet still, we won't take some of that money and invest in ourselves, while other cultures are investing in themselves. My thing is, I'm just going to throw this out to you. And once we get into the 401k, we can break it down even more. I believe whatever you make, whatever your income, you need to be investing. Notice I didn't say save. We need to be investing 25% of it. Because check this out. We're going to say, I need $50,000 to live on comfortably once I get to retirement. No, I'm sorry. Let's not use 50,000. Let's use 100,000. Okay, you got you and your spouse. Your children are grown by then. They're grown and gone. Your empty nesters is just two of you. And you say, okay, we need $100,000 to live on. So what you want to do is take that $100,000 times 25, and that gives you $2.5 million that you need to live on, using the 4% withdrawal rate, rule of thumb. The 4%. That's how you get to 25. 4 quarters and $1. 25 cents. 25 cents. Okay, basically. Once again, you want to live on $100,000, so you multiply 25x that gives you $2.5 million that you need to have in some kind of investment vehicle, and it can be divided up between your 401k, your IRA. The IRA can be Roth, the 401k can be either Roth or traditional. The IRA can be traditional or Roth. It just depends on when you want to pay your taxes. Anything that's in Roth is after tax dollars. That means you won't pay taxes on that, because you've already paid taxes on it when you were accumulating the money into your investment accounts. But if you use the traditional route, you're able to get a tax benefit now versus when you go to pull the money out later. So it just depends on your strategy. Some people want to maybe split it up. So anyway, we're using the Roth IRA as one tool. All right, so we 25x our number. We want $100,000 once we're ready to stop working, no longer exchanging our time for money. We want to 25x that number, so that's $2.5 million. If we want $100,000 a year at a 4% a rule of thumb that we're pulling out, 4% on 2.5 million is $100,000 a year. Now you got to factor in the expense ratio. So that's why I harp on putting it into an index fund, because they have the lowest fees for the expense ratio. And you got other little fees for administrative stuff like that. But we're going to just look at it from, say you got an index fund, and I like VTSAX. That's just me. You go do your own research. Vanguard, it's the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund. And the percentage, I believe right now, is about 0.03 or so. I'm going to let you do the math on it. Now, you take that same money that you've been investing to a managed mutual fund, somebody who is trying to beat the market each year versus you just putting it into this VTSAX or I got another fund that's under Fidelity. It's actually got no expense ratio right now. It's zero, and it's called uh, VT VT. I can't remember it right now. I don't know why it slipped my mind, but it's the total stock market, and that one as well. But it's got an expense ratio of zero because they're competing. Vanguard is competing with Fidelity. Fidelity is competing with Charles Schwab. These index funds that Jack Vogel initiated back in the day, and everybody laughed at him because they didn't think it would work. But he was just trying to show you, he said, you can have a piece of the stock market instead of being in an individual fund. You can have a piece of, all the big, and if it's a total stock market, you got you buying a piece of business in all the top companies that are in the index. And if one is not doing good, it'll fall out and another one will come in. So it diversifies you all in this one fund, in this one index fund, depending on the sector. So if you just say, I want the total stock market, that's like over 4,100 companies in America that you're invested, that you actually a part owner in. You're an owner. We got to start looking at not just having, I got stock in this. No, I'm an owner in this business of whatever it is, Nike, Meta, of Apple, of Google, whatever it is. In these companies, it's like 4,200 companies in this index. If it's the total stock market, maybe it's the S&P 500, where it's the top 500 companies in America. And once again, if one falls out, another jumps in. So that's different than going in a single stock where if you invest in, let's say, Apple, and then eventually over the space of a next decade or so, Apple stock go out, you got all your money in that one basket. And if it loses, everything is gone. But if you got your money in over 4,100 companies or 500 companies in these index funds, one's going to fall out, or whoever falls out, and another one, whoever's coming up, they'll come in. Because Tesla wasn't always in one of the top 500 companies on the S&P. It eventually got in there, just like the rest of them. Back in the day, GE was at the top, but I don't know where it's at now. So, but you got the people over here managing your money that's getting like 1, 2, or 3%. You're paying their salary. So if you got your Roth IRA built up to, say, like this couple, it was 1.3 million, and they're getting 1% of your money every year as long as you got that balance. Do you want to pay that 1% every year, which is, guess what it is? Yes, you guessed it, $130,000. $130,000 versus 0.01% or 0.02% or 0.03%. You do the math and tell me which one you want to pay. And as long as that balance is in there, you got to pay that expense ratio because you're paying those people who are trying to beat the market, and they can't because Warren Buffett talked about it. We already talked about it. So you tell me what you want to do. This is now a way we can use, a mechanism that we can use to make sure that we're maxing our money out and not paying somebody else's salary every year that's not going to beat the market. Makes no sense. It's a no-brainer. So let's get involved. Let's check it out. You may want somebody to manage your money that can't beat the market, but just make sure you know what you're into versus just sitting back and saying, yep, I got a Roth IRA, but you got expense ratio of 5% versus I can get you can look at and pick out some ones that are 0.05%, 0.04%, 0.01%, or like Fidelity, the one I have. FZROX, that's it, FZROX, 0% ratio for investing in a total stock. Same companies that this managed mutual fund manager is trying to dibble and dab in, that's not beating the market, and I'm just riding the waves because it's not managed, so you don't have to pay all that overhead. Let's do it, family. Once again, I am here to give you some financial tips, and we're going to keep going. I'm going to give you a little 15-minute segment each time. Go back and look at all the other videos, and we're building. So you got to catch it from the beginning, and let's keep moving forward as we build wealth for the back family. Take care.